All right, welcome back in here to Forward Progress, presented by FanDuel. Thank you for your patience with some technical difficulties. We're just going to pick up right where we left off. So our previous video, which broke down, let's say the first half of the board, is available to you if you're just seeing this one. You can go catch that other one. But we're going to get into it here with the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Giants. Obviously, big quarterback injury news all around in this one. I shouldn't say injury news in respect to Kirk Cousins, who was benched in favor of Michael Penix Jr. On the New York Giants side, we still don't know who's quarterbacking them going into this week just yet. Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, both on the injury report. Tim Boyle is there as well and could potentially start in this game. But taking a look at the market right now, FanDuel -7.5, -115 on the Atlanta Falcons. Rest of the market is painted 8.5. Total in the game, 42.5 out there as well. Hitman, you had an opinion on this game. Giants and Falcons, break it down for us.
Yeah, lean towards Atlanta. It's all about the upgrade over Kirk Cousins. Am I 100% confident it's an upgrade? No, but the Falcons completely lost confidence in their passing game. They threw the ball once all game on first down against the Raiders. Kirk had been regressing more and more as the season went on. He was ranked 29th in EPA per play, 30th in completion percentage, over expected. Since week 10, I pretty much am under the handicap that almost anyone will be an upgrade over Kirk at this point. Atlanta has a big run game advantage in this game. They're second in success rate running. The Giants are 25th in success rate run defense, 24th in rush EPA over the season, but a lot of that sample size is without Dexter Lawrence. I also like the live betting angles for this game. Similar to what I said about the Kansas City game, we're going to find out in this game, the first quarter or two, more than we probably could have found out the entire week regarding to Michael Penix. We could be saying by the second quarter that it's obvious this guy is a huge upgrade and the market didn't account for it enough. Or who knows? It could theoretically be the opposite. And we're saying that it should have been more of a downgrade. But I'm also interested to see in the live markets, like what the Falcons are going to do offensively. They'd shifted to a lot more 12 personnel in recent weeks, playing really conservative. Do they go back to running more 11 personnel and being more aggressive on offense? So lean towards Atlanta, but it's a game that I'm going to be interested in the live markets.
Yeah, a lot of discourse about this in the chat. Okay, first and foremost, I don't have anything going on this game, but you cannot get a better possible matchup to be your first career start than what the Giants are throwing out there on defense right now. They had their top three corners all missing last week: Cordell Flott, Deonte Banks, Drew Phillips. Bobby Okereke's hurt. Brian Burns didn't practice today. Rakeem Nunez-Roches didn't practice. This is a completely inept defense that Baltimore moved up and down the field on. Now there's argument as well in the chat about whether or not there is an upgrade or not for Penix starting. I mean, the coaching staff for Atlanta thinks that Penix is an upgrade or he wouldn't be starting this week. So I think it's a fair assumption. The market didn't, and the market went in on the Giants on the news. But I mean, I don't think anyone really knows is the reality of the situation.
Also, like if you watch that Atlanta game against the Raiders, like I bet Atlanta, all I was thinking watching that game is do not let this guy throw the ball right now. Like it was apparent that, I mean, Atlanta had zero trust in him. They had absolutely zero trust in him in that game. So, yeah, I think right now, I mean, Cousins maybe next year when he is maybe even more fully recovered off this injury, could easily see him being better. But like at this current state of Kirk Cousins right now, he's probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
It would be hard to disagree with that based off of what we've seen in recent weeks. Anyways, challenging game. This is why you can bet on the NFL, and people have differing opinions. I just think, honestly, I'm kind of hoping we see Penix play a great game here and have the potential to fade him, because I think he might look a lot better than he actually is against the Giants in this first game with that defense. We will see. We will see. Rams and Jets is the next game on the horizon here. Rams obviously coming off of what was one of the ugliest football games of the entire season on Thursday Night Football last week. The Jets, I mean, they pulled out the victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It wasn't pretty most of the time, but they got it done. Rams are field goal favorites away from home here. Total in the game is 46.5. Our resident Jets fan, Suma, is in attendance this week. I'll let you start it off this week. There's some injury concerns here for the Jets as well, Suma.
Yes, absolutely. DJ Reed looks like he's cleared. Michael Carter, still a question mark, nickel corner. Eccles, basically cornerback 4, dealing with an injury. Jalen Mills just went on IR today. Quinnen Williams dealing with a hamstring injury. And Ulbrich called him, quote, he's fighting his butt off to play Sunday. I mean, that does not sound that promising to me. Maybe if it's a real hamstring pull, maybe a 50-50 affair for a defensive tackle. So we will see. All that being said, this is a below average Jets defense all season long. They have been like bottom of the barrel for a decent stretch, but even in the last 2 weeks, I mean, Dolphins basically moved up and down the field against them, who usually struggle against the better or elite defenses in the league. Mac Jones looked really, really good, even though he cannot complete a pass over 20 air yards so far this season. So I think the Rams should have a decent matchup here. O-line is back healthy. We talked about it. Jets pass rush, they're basically up and down all season long. Without Quinnen Williams, I don't see how they can create a lot of pressure, and secondary play and pressure is interconnected. And if there are weak spots in the secondary and a guy like Quinnen Williams is not at 100%, I don't think how this defense that has been extremely underwhelming all season long can all of a sudden turn on the Jets and disrupt this Rams offense for 60 minutes. I just don't see it. And on the other side, Jets offense been getting better and better. I don't know exactly what it is that makes them better, but they have looked much more improved over the recent weeks. Fantasy points, they track like an average separation score based on charting. And Devontae Adams, over his, I think, first 4 or 5 Jets games, was among the worst 5 receivers that they have charted all season long. And over the past 5 weeks, I think he's ranking in the top 10. So my best explanation is maybe the hamstring was much more severe than we knew. Maybe that hampered him. And now post-injury, he's getting better every week. Don't know. But I think these are 2, I don't want to call the Jets a decent offense, but an improving offense that has nothing to lose, complete YOLO ball with Rodgers now against 2 below average defenses. And right now I'm looking towards the over here.
All right. I tend to agree here. I would have loved to see DJ Reed miss instead of being back at practice, but such is life. And I mean, there is some legitimate concern about the Rams becoming this run-heavy team. I think that's something that in recent weeks, at least, they've focused more on attacking on the ground, but they've had success doing that. And I still think that they'll be able to put up points in this particular matchup. Other side of things, I mean, maybe this is just narrative based. Maybe I just watch football, but Aaron Rodgers seems much more mobile than he was even a month and a half ago. Guy is actually taking off in the pocket. This is kind of what the Jets signed up for at this point. So I do think the Jets offense is incredibly undervalued right now based off of that. Hitman, I saw you nodding there as well. I know you had some thoughts on this game too.
Yeah, I was just nodding about the Rodgers thing. Just watching the games, like, he's looked a lot healthier with his pocket movement the past few weeks. I mean, he ran for 45 yards last week, which I couldn't even believe when I got to see the box score. So, I'm in agreement with this one. I'm leaning towards the over also.
Okay. Keep it moving along here. Seattle, Minnesota. Geno Smith did practice today. In what capacity, I'm not sure just yet. I've been trying to read tweets while I'm online, but he did practice. Don't know what the rep count was necessarily. Looking at the early market here, or the market right now, I should say, Minnesota laying a field goal on the road. Total has been bet up on this practice news up to 43.5, minus 115 in the last hour or so. Suma, I'm going to go over to you here first. You had some thoughts on the total in this game.
Yes, looking towards the under, I think this is a matchup where both offenses might be struggling. Seahawks offense, they have been showing us a pretty clear picture They have a bad offensive line, struggling in pass protection, run game is not working. And it's basically Geno Smith trying to evade pressure and hit DK and JSN down the field. And last week, as soon as Sam Howell came in, I thought about how much more we should appreciate Geno Smith this season, because Sam Howell was absolutely cooked behind this offensive line. And since he cannot do anything against pressure and he eats too many sacks, I think Geno did a very good job this season so far. But going back to the matchup, Vikings are top 10 defense against the run. I think Brian Flores will create a lot of free rushers. I mean, we are talking about an interior about Sataoa, Laumea, Jalen Sandell, and Laken Tomlinson, arguably the worst inside trio in the league. I think there will be tons of created pressures and free rushers coming at Geno this week, and I don't really see how the Seahawks consistently move the ball. But on the other side, I can also see having Darnold having a not so good game against the Seahawks defense that has been improving since the bye week. I mean, Darnold, even last week against the Bears, there were so many missed throws over the middle of the field on like crossers and stuff like that. I think Mike McDonald might scheme something up. They have a very good defensive line with Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, and Byron Murphy that can attack that weak spot of the Vikings O-line, which is the interior. I also think that the Seahawks, since week 8, they've been borderline top 10 against the run on defense. I think the Vikings will also struggle. And I like the under here. Maybe it might tick a little bit more up towards 44 once Geno is fully confirmed. But I would even like it at the current market price.
All right. Suma making a case for the under there with the Vikings and the Seahawks. We'll shift gears here to the 49ers and the Dolphins. 49ers, obviously, pretty ugly performance last week on Thursday Night Football. Trent Williams missed that one as well. With the Miami Dolphins, they're coming off an ugly game themselves in which Tua turned the ball over quite a bit, didn't look himself. Tyreek Hill had a very cryptic tweet today that no one can seem to parse. Mike McDaniel was asked about it, kind of laughed it off. Interesting stuff going on all around off the field here with these two teams, but the current market sits at Miami -1.5. Total is 44.5. Juice towards the over here. Judah, you're looking at the total in this matchup.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be kind of a regular month of the NFL season without a Tyreek Hill cryptic tweet. That's just I've come to expect such things. Maybe this is just me on the left tail of the midwit meme, but these are two very good offenses that we have a pretty large set of data on with Tua healthy for the Dolphins and even kind of using our priors from previous seasons. I don't think either defense is going to be able to take the opposing offense out of kind of their regular success. And by most counts, both these offenses have been top 10, however you want to define it. This game's in Miami. This is not like a 15-degree rainy. That's impossible. A 15-degree day or an extreme rain or heavy wind. It's a game in Miami. I think the weather's going to be just fine. These are two good offenses. I think the total is just too low.
All right, going to the over there. We will end this before we get to our best bets with Sunday Night Football. Not many strong opinions here on Monday Night Football, so we'll end it off with Sunday Night Football with the Bucs going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys back on track. Big win against Carolina on the road as an underdog last week. And the Bucs looking good as well. They steamrolled the Chargers in the second half when looked like Justin Herbert took another hit in that game, aggravated his ankle injury, and really struggled over the course of the second half in that game. Current market at FanDuel, pretty expensive, 3.5 on Tampa Bay on the road. There are some 4s out there as well. Total in the game has been bet up to 48.5. Judah, going to pick it back up with you here. Tampa Bay, Dallas on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I think the spot kind of on both sides of the matchup, I think favors Tampa Bay. The Dallas offense has been pretty bad since Cooper Rush took over as just establishing some base rates, and they've had some run success with Rico Dowdle the last 3 weeks. I don't think that is going to continue against a Tampa Bay front, which has been terrific versus the run, especially since Vita Vea came back. And then when you're forcing Cooper Rush into obvious passing situations, I don't think that's a recipe for success. And I think the Dallas offense is going to look like the offense we saw before they were able to get Rico Dowdle running for 120 yards And on the other side, Dallas' defense has been fine since Micah Parsons came back, and so much of that is from their ability to generate quick pressure. But the way this Tampa offense has schemed is to mitigate that. They've seen the fewest amounts of, or the least amount of quick pressure of any team in the NFL. Baker Mayfield's getting rid of the ball quick. And I mean, we said this last week when we bet on the Bucs and the best bet. I think this is a team that's just underrated. The offense, whether injuries or not, has been however you want to choose your efficiency metric, at the very, very top of the league, and I think underrated by market. The defense also has been blitzing at a 65% clip over the last 4 weeks. Granted, they've played some poor opponents, but they're also generating the most disruption by 5% over the next closest team, the most quick pressure. This is a different defense, and I think is set up very well given the strength of the Dallas defense is their quick pressure, which Tampa can mitigate. And I think that the ability to stop the run is going to kind of hinder Dallas's ability to move the ball.
Suma, you can pick it up here. I think you echo a lot of the same sentiments as Judah in this game.
Not really much to add. I think that the Cowboys' run defense, which has been very poor this season, will get exposed here. Last couple of weeks, they faced either a bad rushing offense or the game script against the Panthers was very favorable. I think that this week against the Bucs, their run defense will look much worse. I also agree with everything that Judah said. I expect the Bucs to move the ball. I like them here.
I'm invested on the under in this game at the current market price. I know it's not a popular opinion. People view Tampa Bay as this pure over team. Tampa Bay's defense has been playing really well. And now you have to account for the fact that they've caught in a lot of breaks. They've played quarterbacks who are injured. They've played bad quarterbacks. But this has kind of been the MO when you look at least the past couple of seasons, even with injuries on the Tampa Bay back end. Antoine Winfield might not play again in this particular game. Whenever they've gone up against bad quarterbacks, they have fared really well. Todd Bowles has, you just look at the last few seasons. Justin Fields, they played Desmond Ridder a couple times. They played Bryce Young a few times, Spencer Rattler, Will Levis, Tommy DeVito, Aiden O'Connell. And you look at what the Bucs are averaging on defense in those games. They're giving up just over 2 touchdowns, 14.3 points. And the splits are very drastic when they're playing what I would call real quarterbacks. Now, you might not think Cooper Rush is that bad because he balled out against the Carolina Panthers last week, but I beg to differ. I've watched him for a long time. I think what Dallas is trying to do is get the ball out of his hands very quickly, and that has worked successfully at times. But overall, I think the Bucs defense is going to win here. I also think that despite Trayvon Diggs being out, we got to really monitor Jordan Lewis here because I think he matters. He's been playing a lot better this year. He's been a really good slot corner for them. The pass rush is getting home for Dallas. One thing that is my criticism of Baker Mayfield is he will take sacks. He will eat sacks. He is a little bit more mobile, but he doesn't really have a lot of great sack avoidance necessarily. And the Bucs offense has been just killing man coverage over the course of the entire year. Explosive plays all around, EPA through the roof. Dallas is going to play way less man with Trayvon Diggs out of the lineup. They already did that last week, and they'll continue to do it going forward. So I actually think that the point total is a little bit too high in this game. I like the under. Okay, that's the breakdowns for this week's games. We will get into our best bets. As a reminder, this is a different stream. If you could take 2 seconds, smash that like button down below. Do it all over again if you already did it once before, just as it will help people find this content. Apologies for the technical difficulties today. We're going to go, we start with winners first, but one of the wins last week was a little bit more impressive because it was an alt line. So Judah, the floor is yours. You had Tampa Bay alternate spread last week. What are you going with this week?
Tampa Bay alternate spread this week. Going Tampa minus 13.5. I think this is a spot where they can win with margin, and everything really sets up for that just by virtue of Tampa's ability to move the ball, whether passing or running. I think this is an elite offense or a top offense, however you want to define it, one that can score 40 points on a team that was previously the best scoring defense in the NFL. Obviously, that's not the be-all end-all metric, but I think that Dallas is going to have trouble moving the ball, relying on Cooper Rush in obvious passing downs because of Tampa Bay's run defense. It's not a recipe for success. Liam Cohen, as was mentioned in the chat, is a very aggressive when up late in games. They're going to continue throwing late into the games. I see this as a spot where Tampa, if they're going to win, can win with some big margin.
All right, back to the well, back to what works. Don't hate that strategy at all. I'm going to go with another total this week, and I'm actually going back to the well with a team that I bet as my best bet over last week. I'm going Arizona, Carolina over 46.5 at -115. That would be a better price than the 47s -110 in market. So if you're going to bet it, take it at FanDuel. It starts with Arizona's ability to run their offense against this Carolina defense. And yes, the Carolina defense doesn't have any real significant injuries like from week to week, but they're still a very bad defense overall. Arizona can establish the run in this game. They can work the ball downfield. There's not really a lot that the Carolina defense can do to slow down this offense, in my opinion. On the other side of things, I'm willing to give Bryce Young another shot. I mentioned this earlier in the show, but Micah Parsons basically terrorized him last week, and he took advantage of Ike Ekwonu. Arizona doesn't really have the pass rushers to be able to do that, and they also give up a lot more on the ground, especially in recent weeks where Dallas's run defense has gotten a little bit better. So all in all, I see this as a pretty good offensive matchup. You don't have any weather concerns in this game. It'll be a little bit cooler in Carolina, but nothing to worry about here. So I'm going Arizona, Carolina over the posted total. We'll move on here. Suma, you weren't here last week, but you didn't lose like Hitman did. So we're going Suma next here on best bets.
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers on the money line. We know how the Dolphins offense wants to operate. They basically completely took away, or defenses took away their deep in-breaking passing game, and everything's underneath, behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of screens. They cannot run the ball at all, and we will see about Jalen Waddle. I think he's not practicing today. We'll see on his status. I think without him, would like the Niners even more. But I think that the Dolphins cannot run the ball. That would be one of the areas to attack this Niners defense. So the Niners, with a strong linebacker in the middle, they can really focus on all that screen and underneath stuff that they can really trigger on that stuff. And I think that Tua might have another rough game in general. They will still score, but I think there will be some limitations about the offense again this week. And on the other side, Trent Williams will likely not play again this season, like they said today. But I think the Niners offense, Purdy not in the way, not in the snow, they should look much different this week, and I expect them to score enough here. I like the Niners on the money line. I think there's value.
All right, Suma going to San Francisco. We have a last-minute pivot here in the background from the Hitman. Hitman, it's on you. Hope you know what you're doing with the last-second change here. Historically, these haven't fared well on the show. So
some might view it as indecisiveness, but yeah, let's do it. Admittedly, this is a tough week for me right now. There's not much on the board that I do love, but I'm going to go with the Eagles, -3.5, -104. There's concerns for me about Washington's offense in this matchup. Jaden Daniels took 8 sacks against a terrible Saints defense in a game that he was in positive game script. Terry McLaurin has a really tough matchup at left wide receiver, where Quinyon Mitchell shut him down the last time they played. Noah Brown, Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz are out from the previous time they played. It's just not an offense that has where Jaden Daniels has a ton of supporting cast help right now. In my opinion, running the ball is not going to be easy against an Eagles rush defense. It's second in rush EPA, fourth in success rate. I really just think that the path for success for Washington's offense is just Jaden Daniels playing unbelievable despite the matchup concerns, which it's in the range of outcomes, but it's one of the best defenses in the league to be forced to do that against. On the other side of the ball, Eagles, obviously, it comes down to stopping the run against them. Washington's defense allowing a league high 2 yards before contact per rush to opposing running backs. The Eagles average a league high 2.6 yards before contact per rush. I just think that even at this price, even though we lost the threes before we went on, it's still a little bit cheap for what I consider to be by far the best team in the NFC. So give me the Eagles -3.5, -104.
Bold move with the last second pivot. We'll see if that works out. We'll see if it works out. And I know what the other pick was. So if one loses and the other wins, it's going to be.
Well, there was somebody just bet the Eagles down a little bit at one of the major offshores. So somebody's fading right now.
You love to see it. That's going to be it for us. That's a wrap. Week 16 NFL Best Bets. Thank you so much for tuning in, spending part of your week with us. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the like button on YouTube and subscribe to Forward Progress. Help us get to 8K subs. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, a 5-star review would go a long way in helping us grow the audience. Drop your thoughts and picks in the comments. We love hearing from you. Even if you just want to roast us, we can take it. Believe me. For myself, Rob Pizzola, for Judah, for Hitman, for Suma, for our producer, Jason Cooper, thank you for coming along for the ride. Best of luck with your bets this week. As always, bet responsibly. Of note, for next week, it'll be Christmas Day. We do not have a Christmas Day show. We will be doing likely the 26th next week. Announcement to go out on Twitter, and obviously we'll schedule that in advance on YouTube as well, so all of you know. See you then. Good luck this week.